The palace of the Solari Dominion shimmered under twin suns, its towers twisting like frozen rivers of silver. The air carried the scent of mineral storms, distant lightning, and the hum of energy channels flowing through the capital. The people walked with grace, their pale lavender skin glowing faintly under the light. Every corridor echoed with tradition, ritual, and power. At the center of it all stood Queen Leora, ruler of one of the largest empires in the region. She had ruled since her youth, chosen by the ancient rites for her clarity of judgment and firm resolve. Her people respected her. Her council obeyed her. Her armies marched at her command. Yet in the quiet spaces of her grand halls, she carried a weight heavier than her crown. War had returned to the outer territories. The Dominion's enemies saw weakness in her diplomatic methods and sought to exploit it. And in the middle of this storm was her unexpected marriage to a human named Aaron. Aaron was not a general. He was not a noble. He was not even a veteran of any notable conflict. To most of the Solari, he was simply an outsider from a small world far beyond their borders. One who had come to stand beside their queen through a treaty that bound their two civilizations together. The alliance required a symbolic union, and Aaron had been chosen after proving himself honorable and steadfast during early diplomatic missions to the court. He appeared harmless, quiet, observant, respectful. Many assumed he lacked any real impact on political matters. Some whispered that the queen had taken a spouse unworthy of her status. Others joked that a human could never influence a realm as vast as the Dominion. Aaron heard some of those whispers during his walks through the palace corridors, but chose silence over confrontation. He admired Leora. He supported her. And he understood something the court did not. He knew that strength was not always loud. And though he had no intention of revealing the truth, he knew that if the day came when the Dominion faced a threat large enough, he would act. That day arrived sooner than anyone expected. One early morning, as light from the twin suns spread across the marble floor, Leora stood on the balcony overlooking the capital. Her ceremonial cloak flowed in the rising wind. She received intelligence reports detailing the advance of the Varkan swarm, an aggressive force known for consuming entire worlds. Her generals argued that the swarm was still far away. Her council insisted it would not approach the core. Yet her intuition told her otherwise. Aaron approached quietly, placing a hand on the railing beside her. "You are troubled," he said. "It is the swarm," Leora replied. "My council refuses to accept the danger. They believe the outer fleets can hold the line. I fear they underestimate our enemy." Aaron nodded slowly. "What will you do?" "I will send more ships. I will demand the frontier systems evacuate. But even then, I fear we may not be ready." Aaron looked out over the distant horizon, where carriers lifted from the military spires. The world was beautiful, but he could sense tension beneath the surface. He had seen war. He had fought in conflicts that stretched across ruined worlds before humans ever joined diplomatic relations with other species. Yet he had never spoken of those years. "You are not alone," he said softly. She gave him a small smile. "I know. Your presence comforts me, even if the court thinks otherwise." Aaron exhaled. Let them think. Later that day, the warning came. A distortion wave tore open the sky over the capital. Energy alarms echoed through every tower. Soldiers rushed to defensive posts. The swarm had bypassed the border fleets and appeared directly through a breach in space. Their ships descended like dark spears, cutting through the air and launching ground forces toward the palace. Leora issued commands at once. All guards to the inner gates. Evacuate civilians. Activate the sentinel shields. Her generals moved swiftly, but the enemy's assault was far more advanced than anticipated. Sharp metallic creatures, each several meters tall, stormed the outer walls. The defenders fought fiercely, but were pushed back step by step. Leora stood at the command balcony, issuing orders while watching sections of the city fall to the swarm. Aaron remained by her side until a blast from a swarm cannon struck the balcony's edge. Leora stumbled as part of the structure cracked, and Aaron reacted instantly. He pulled her back and shielded her with his body as debris rained down. The guards rushed forward, shouting warnings and urging the Queen to retreat to the safer chambers. "Your Majesty, we must secure you," the captain insisted. Leora looked at Aaron. "Come with me." Aaron shook his head. "No, you go. They need you to lead." She reached for him, concern rising in her voice. "Aaron, please. You are not a soldier. You cannot stay here." For the first time since they met, he looked her directly in the eyes with a resolve that made her breath catch. "I can," he said, "and I will." Before she could argue, another explosion rocked the palace. The guards carried her away, while Aaron turned toward the advancing swarm units, climbing through the breach. When the last guard disappeared with the Queen, Aaron stood alone on the balcony. A quiet breath escaped his lips. His posture shifted. His eyes sharpened. The gentle facade he had carried for months slipped away, revealing the soldier he once had been. He unfastened the ceremonial vest he wore and tossed it aside. Underneath, a simple reinforced suit remained, one designed long ago for harsh conflicts in places no Shalari had ever seen. He had kept his history hidden. His strength, his training, his victories and scars. He had hoped his life with Leora would never require him to return to that mindset. But the swarm left him no choice. The first wave of creatures lunged at him. Their metallic limbs clattered against the balcony. Aaron moved faster than they expected, faster than any human they had ever encountered. With a swift motion, he struck the first attacker, sending it crashing into a pillar. A second creature swung a bladed arm toward him. Aaron stepped aside, grabbed its limb, and twisted until it broke, then hurled the creature off the balcony. More creatures climbed up. He faced them without hesitation. He had fought in wars far worse than this. He had survived battles that had erased entire battalions. Every instinct awakened as he dismantled each enemy with precision and unerring focus. The palace walls shook, but Aaron did not step back. His movements became a blur of force and efficiency. The swarm units that reached the balcony were defeated one after another until their broken forms lay scattered among shattered stone. Meanwhile, deep within the palace, Leora reached the protective chamber but refused to remain there. She turned to the captain. "Where is Aaron now?" "He stayed behind, Your Majesty," the captain replied. Leora felt her heart tighten. She pushed past the guards. "I must return. But your safety. I will not hide while my people and my husband face danger." Her voice carried such command that even her guards hesitated. After a moment, they followed her as she rushed back through the damaged hallways. The sounds of battle grew louder with each step. When she reached the balcony again, she saw Aaron standing among defeated swarm units. The wind blew across him, carrying dust and sparks. He looked different, stronger, fierce, no longer the quiet human who walked with her through the gardens, but something far more formidable. He turned when he heard her approach. She froze. "Aaron," she whispered. He met her gaze. "I told you that you were not alone." Before she could speak further, the sky darkened again. A massive swarm carrier descended toward the palace. Its weapon cores glowed as they prepared to unleash a devastating blast. Leora watched in fear as the guards scrambled to activate shields. Aaron stepped forward, eyes locked on the carrier. He raised his hand and activated a device embedded in his arm. Leora had never seen it before. A surge of energy wrapped around him. His muscles tightened. His presence grew heavier, like a force pressing against the air itself. He leapt from the balcony to a nearby tower, then toward the carrier with a speed no ordinary human could ever achieve. Leora and the guards watched in astonishment. As Aaron reached the enemy ship, he tore through its hull plating and vanished inside. Moments later, explosions erupted from within the carrier, lighting the sky in bursts. The massive vessel shook, destabilized, and then crashed far beyond the palace walls. Silence filled the air. Aaron emerged from the smoke, descending onto one of the palace towers before leaping back to the balcony. He landed with a soft thud. Leora stared at him with disbelief and awe. "You," she said quietly, "are far more than you appear." Aaron bowed his head slightly. "I never wanted to hide the truth. I only hoped I would never need to reveal it." "What are you exactly?" "A soldier," he answered. "One who swore never to return to war. But for you, for your people, I will do what must be done." Leora stepped closer, her eyes glassy with emotion. "You have saved us. The court never believed you were anything more than a symbol. But you stood your ground when all others faltered." Aaron looked at the destroyed city beyond the palace. "It is not over yet." True to his words, the swarm forces still ravaged parts of the capital. With Leora leading the command from the palace and Aaron fighting at the front, the Dominion launched a counterattack. Word spread quickly that the Queen's human husband fought like an entire battalion by himself. Fear turned to hope. Soldiers who had retreated now surged forward. Civilians fled to safety, under the confidence that the tide had shifted. Aaron moved through the Eye, battlefield with precision and strength, honed over years of training. Leora coordinated fleets and